December 2019, Pune. A grand Indian wedding had just concluded with over 300 guests celebrating the union of two families. The bride, radiant in her red silk sari, retired to her new home filled with hope and dreams. Her husband, the perfect groom everyone admired, carried a glass of traditional milk to their decorated bedroom. A beautiful custom symbolizing new beginnings, but within hours she would be dead, poisoned by the very man who had just promised to protect her for life. The cause? A discovery so shocking it drove him to commit the ultimate betrayal on what should have been their most sacred night. But what could drive a man to such darkness on what should be the happiest night of his life? Welcome to True Crime Journal HQ. Thanks to all our viewers and subscribers for your support. Stay with us for daily update on the most shocking true crime stories. Don't forget to subscribe. Meera Kapoor was born in 1995 into a loving middle-class family in Delhi's Lajpat Nagar. Her father, Rajesh, worked as a government clerk, while her mother, Sunita, was a school teacher. Despite their modest income, the Kapoors prioritized education above everything else. Their small two-bedroom flat was filled with books, and young Meera showed exceptional academic promise from an early age. As a child, Meera was the pride of her family. She consistently topped her class, won science competitions, and displayed a natural curiosity about technology. Her parents often joked that she would ask Kyun and Kaise about everything, from how ceiling fans worked to why computers could think. This questioning nature would later drive her to pursue engineering, a field still dominated by men in India. In 2013, Meera secured admission to Delhi Technological University for computer science engineering. Her parents celebrated by distributing sweets in their entire building. Their daughter had achieved what they could only dream of. College life opened new horizons for Meera. She wasn't just academically brilliant, she was also actively involved in coding competitions and technical festivals. Her friends remember her as someone who balanced tradition with modernity perfectly. She would attend Karva Chauth with her mother, while also participating in hackathons over weekends. Meera dreamed of working for a major tech company, maybe even starting her own software firm someday. She often told her roommate, "Technology can change lives, yaar. I want to be part of that change." After graduation in 2017, Meera landed a job at a prominent IT company in Noida. She was earning Rs 8 lakhs per annum, a significant achievement for someone from her background. Her parents were overjoyed. Finally, their years of sacrifice were paying off. Meera rented a small apartment near her office and began sending money home every month to help her younger brother's education. At work, colleagues described her as hard-working, helpful, and incredibly trustworthy. She never missed deadlines, often stayed late to help struggling teammates, and was known for her infectious laugh during lunch breaks. Meera's team lead once said, "She had this ability to make complex problems seem simple." Everyone loved working with her. But as Meera entered her mid-20s, family conversations began shifting toward marriage. Indian society's pressure was mounting. By 2019, the questions started coming from all directions. "Meera ki shadi kab karenge?" relatives would ask during every family function. Her parents, though progressive, began feeling the societal pressure. They worried about her getting too old by Indian marriage standards. Have you ever felt the pressure of arranged marriage in your family? That constant stream of relatives asking when you'll settle down. Initially, Meera resisted. She wanted to focus on her career, maybe pursue an MBA. But seeing her parents' anxiety, she eventually agreed to meet potential grooms. The process was exhausting. Meeting strangers, answering the same questions about her cooking skills, her willingness to relocate, her future family plans. In October 2019, through mutual family friends, the Kapoors were introduced to the Gupta family. Vikram seemed perfect on paper, an engineer, well-educated, earning well and from a respectable family. During their first meeting at a coffee shop in CP, Vikram impressed Meera with his knowledge about technology and his apparent respect for working women. "He seemed different from other guys I'd met," Meera later told her best friend Priya. "He actually listened when I talked about my work. He said he wanted a partner, not just a wife. Their courtship period lasted 2 months. Vikram was charming, attentive, and seemed genuinely interested in her dreams. He would send good morning messages, remember her important meetings, and even bought her favorite books. Meera began believing she was truly lucky to find someone who respected her ambitions. Once both families agreed to the marriage, the preparations began in full swing. The Kapoors, despite their limited resources, wanted to ensure their daughter's wedding was memorable. They took loans, sold some of their gold, and even borrowed money from relatives to meet the customary expenses. Meera was ecstatic. She spent hours shopping with her mother, selecting her trousseau, dreaming about her new life. She planned to continue working after marriage. Vikram had assured her of his full support. They discussed moving to a bigger apartment, saving money together, maybe even traveling abroad for their honeymoon. Can you imagine the excitement Meera must have felt? The dreams, the hopes, the beautiful future she envisioned with someone she was beginning to love. Her diary entries from this period, later found by police, revealed her happiness. Finally found someone who gets me. Mama, Papa are so happy. I can't wait to start this new chapter. Life feels perfect right now. Meera spent her last days as a single woman calling friends, finalizing arrangements, and dreaming of the beautiful life ahead. She had even started learning new recipes to surprise her future in-laws, determined to be the perfect daughter-in-law while maintaining her career. Being Meera, so full of dreams, only to have them destroyed in one night. If you don't subscribe after hearing her story, are you really willing to let her voice fade into silence? If you disagree, leave your reason in the comments. But know that silence helps the killers, not the victims. But Meera had no idea she was walking into a trap that had been months in the making. Vikram Gupta was 28 years old, and everything an Indian family could want in a son-in-law. He worked as a process engineer at a multinational company in Pune's Hinjawadi IT park, earning Rs 12 lakhs annually. His colleagues knew him as punctual, well-dressed, and professionally competent. He lived in a decent 2 BHK apartment in Wakad, drove a Honda City, and maintained all the appearances of a successful young professional. During family gatherings, Vikram was the model son. He touched elders' feet, spoke respectfully, and always carried thoughtful gifts. His mother, Kamala Gupta, would proudly tell neighbors, "Mera Vikram bahut acha ladka hai. Job mein promotion bhi mila hai recently." His father, a retired bank manager, often boasted about his son's achievements to anyone who would listen. When marriage proposals started coming, Vikram seemed like the perfect catch. He had completed his B.Tech from a reputable college, had no bad habits according to his family, and expressed desire for a working wife, a modern touch that impressed progressive families. The Guptas lived in a respectable middle-class society in Pune, and their reputation was spotless. But behind this carefully constructed image lay a completely different Vikram. His gambling addiction had started innocently during college, small bets on cricket matches with friends. What began as fun during IPL seasons gradually transformed into a compulsive need that consumed his thoughts and paycheck. By 2018, Vikram had discovered online betting platforms. The convenience was intoxicating. He could place bets from his office desk, during lunch breaks, even while lying in bed. Teen patty, poker, sports betting, virtual casino games, nothing was off limits. He convinced himself he was smart enough to beat the system, that his next big win was always just one bet away. The addiction escalated when he discovered underground gambling dens in Pune's Boudoir Peth area. These illegal establishments operated from nondescript buildings, protected by local strongmen. Here, Vikram would spend entire weekends, sometimes losing his entire monthly salary in a single night. The adrenaline rush was addictive, but the losses were devastating. By mid-2019, Vikram owed Rs 15 lakhs to various moneylenders and loan sharks. These weren't banks with formal procedures. These were dangerous people who operated outside the law. His primary creditor was a man known only as Bai, who ran lending operations across Pune's gambling circuit. The threat started small, phone calls reminding him of due dates. When Vikram missed payments, the pressure intensified. Bhai's men would wait outside his office building, making their presence known. They visited his apartment complex, asking neighbors about Vikram Beta in a way that made everyone uncomfortable. One evening, they cornered him in the parking garage. "Paisa nahi hai to kidney bech de," one of them laughed menacingly. "Ya phir ghar walon ko batayein ki unka beta kya karta hai." The threat was clear: pay up or face consequences that would destroy his family's reputation and safety. Desperate and running out of options, Vikram developed a calculated plan. Marriage in Indian families traditionally involves significant financial exchange through dowry, gifts, and cash presents. If he could marry into a well-off family, the immediate financial injection might solve his problems. He began presenting himself as the ideal groom, specifically targeting families who could afford substantial dowries. During initial meetings with potential brides' families, he would subtly assess their financial status, checking their jewelry, asking about their business, noting their lifestyle. With Meera's family, Vikram played his cards perfectly. He positioned himself as slightly reluctant about dowry demands, making the Kapoors believe he was a progressive, non-greedy groom. This reverse psychology made them more generous in their offerings, wanting to prove they weren't cheap or unwilling to treat their daughter's husband well. Vikram's deception was methodical and comprehensive. He maintained separate bank accounts, one for his salary where he kept just enough to maintain appearances, and hidden accounts for his gambling activities. He used different mobile numbers for gambling contacts, always deleting message histories. To his family, he appeared to be saving money for marriage expenses. In reality, every rupee was going toward gambling debts or new bets. He became expert at manufacturing excuses, medical emergencies, helping college friends, investing in fixed deposits that didn't exist. When Meera's family asked about his financial stability, Vikram showed them doctored bank statements and fake investment documents. He even arranged for a colleague to pose as his financial advisor during one family meeting, vouching for his excellent savings habits. Have you ever met someone who seemed too good to be true? Someone whose perfection made you suspicious, but you ignored your instincts? How well do we really know the people around us? The colleague sitting next to you? The neighbor who always smiles? The relatives who seem so put together? What secrets might they be hiding? Vikram had become a master manipulator, able to compartmentalize his life so effectively that nobody suspected the truth. Even his closest family members had no idea their son and brother was drowning in debt and desperation. Criminals like Vikram thrive in silence. If you watch and move on without subscribing, you're doing exactly what they count on, forgetting the victims. So either subscribe now or tell us in the comments why Vikram's lies don't deserve to be exposed. But Vikram's carefully crafted plan was about to face an unexpected obstacle. The wedding preparations had started 3 months earlier. Meera's mother, Sunita, had spent countless hours visiting Chandni Chowk and Karol Bagh, selecting the perfect lehengas, saris and jewelry for each ceremony. The Kapoor family had booked Krishna Banquet Hall in Lajpat Nagar, a venue that could accommodate 350 guests and had beautiful mandap decorations. Every detail was planned meticulously. The mehendi artist was booked from Rajouri Garden, famous for her intricate bridal designs. The caterers were specialists in traditional North Indian cuisine, promising everything from chole bhature to gulab jamun. Relatives from Jaipur, Chandigarh, and even Mumbai had confirmed their attendance. For the Kapoors, this wasn't just a wedding. It was the culmination of 24 years of dreams for their daughter. Vikram's family appeared equally enthusiastic. They contributed to planning discussions, suggested additional rituals, and even offered to arrange the DJ and photographer. To everyone watching, both families seemed perfectly matched in their excitement and expectations. December 15, 2019 dawned crisp and clear in Delhi. The banquet hall buzzed with activity from 4 a.m. as decorators put finishing touches on marigold garlands and roses. Over 300 guests started arriving by evening, dressed in their finest silk saris and shewanis. The sound of dol players filled the air as Vikram's barat approached on a decorated white horse. The traditional ceremonies unfolded beautifully. During the Jaimala exchange, both families cheered as Meera and Vikram garlanded each other. The Panditji chanted Sanskrit mantras while explaining the significance of each ritual to younger family members. The sacred fire crackled as they took the 7 pharas, each representing a vow for their life together. Have you attended such grand Indian weddings? The energy, the music, the endless food and relatives you only see at such occasions? Meera looked absolutely stunning. Her red Banarasi silk lehenga, embroidered with gold threadwork, had cost her parents ₹85,000, money borrowed from her father's provident fund. The traditional gold jewelry, heavy necklaces, chandelier earrings, nose ring and bangles caught every light in the hall. Her mehendi was dark and intricate, covering her hands and feet with beautiful patterns that included Vikram hidden in the design. But beyond her physical beauty, Meera radiated genuine happiness. Her smile never faded throughout the 8-hour ceremony. She touched elders' feet seeking blessings, hugged cousins she hadn't seen in years, and laughed at her younger brother's jokes about gaining a jijaji. Every photograph captured a young woman glowing with hope and excitement for her future. Vikram played his part flawlessly. He participated in every ritual with apparent sincerity, smiled for hundreds of photographs, and charmed everyone with his respectful behavior. When elderly relatives blessed him, he accepted their words graciously. During the dinner, he made sure to personally greet important guests from both families. Internally, however, Vikram was calculating. Every gold ornament Meera wore, every envelope of cash gifted during the ceremony, every expensive gift presented by relatives, he was mentally assessing their value. When Meera's uncle gifted them a set of silver dinner plates, Vikram's first thought was their resale price. The sacred mantras meant nothing to him. He was focused entirely on his financial windfall. The beautiful traditions that should have bonded 2 souls were meaningless to Vikram. When they circled the sacred fire 7 times, representing 7 lifetimes of commitment, he was thinking about his gambling debts. During the Kanyadan ceremony, where Meera's father symbolically entrusted his daughter to Vikram's care, he was calculating how quickly he could liquidate the dowry assets. The guests showered them with rice and flower petals during the Vidai ceremony, blessing their new journey together. Meera cried as she hugged her parents goodbye, tears of joy mixed with the traditional sadness of leaving her childhood home. Vikram consoled her gently, playing the caring husband while internally celebrating his successful deception. Where are you watching from? Share your wedding memories in the comments. Did your family also put everything into making such celebrations memorable? These weddings are meant to be memories for life, not crime scenes. Subscribe right now so stories like Meera's are never brushed under the carpet, and if you think her pain isn't worth your click, leave your excuse in the comments. We'll be reading. But as the celebrations wound down, the real horror was about to begin. By 11 p.m. the last guests had departed, leaving behind the echoes of celebration and the sweet fragrance of roses. Vikram's family home in Wakad had been transformed for the newlyweds. The master bedroom was decorated with fresh marigold petals scattered across red silk bedsheets. Diyas flickered softly in the corners, creating a warm, romantic atmosphere. The bed was adorned with more flower petals arranged in heart shapes, and the walls were draped with golden cloth. Traditional sweets, coconut ladoos, kaju katli, and rasgullas, were arranged on silver plates beside a pitcher of cold milk infused with almonds, cardamom, and saffron. This was the sacred space where 2 lives were meant to begin their eternal journey together, blessed by family prayers and ancient traditions. Meera entered the room with the shy excitement typical of Indian brides. She was still wearing her heavy wedding lehenga, exhausted but radiant after the long ceremony. Her mehendi-decorated hands carefully lifted the ornate dupatta as she looked around the beautifully prepared room. "Kitna sundar decoration hai," she whispered to herself, touched by the family's efforts. She moved toward the wooden wardrobe to change into more comfortable clothes, a pink silk salwar kameez her mother had specially bought for this moment. As tradition dictated, she wanted to look beautiful for her new husband, while being comfortable enough to finally relax after the grueling day. Meera trusted Vikram completely. During their 2-month courtship, he had shown nothing but respect and understanding. She believed she was beginning a life with a man who valued her dreams and would protect her always. In her innocent mind, this night represented the beautiful start of their shared future. While Meera changed behind the carved wooden screen, Vikram's mind was focused entirely on assessment. The moment she disappeared from view, he began his methodical examination of the jewelry she had carefully placed on the dressing table. Each piece represented his financial salvation, or so he thought. He picked up the heavy gold necklace first, feeling its weight in his palms. Something felt wrong immediately. The metal seemed lighter than expected for its size. He examined the intricate work more closely, running his fingers over the designs. His engineering background had taught him to notice details, and these details were troubling. Next, he inspected the elaborate chandelier earrings, the thick gold bangles, and the ornate nose ring. Each examination confirmed his growing horror. The realization hit him like a physical blow. These weren't solid gold. They were gold-plated brass, sophisticated replicas that looked authentic but were worth a fraction of real gold's value. Vikram's hands trembled as he checked piece after piece. The necklace set that appeared to be worth Rs 3 lakhs was actually worth maybe Rs 15,000. The bangles that looked like family heirlooms were clever imitations. Even the earrings, which had seemed so heavy and valuable during the ceremony, were revealed as elaborate fakes. He frantically opened the cash envelopes that relatives had presented during the ceremony. Instead of the Rs 8-10 lakhs he had calculated based on the number of guests and their apparent prosperity, he found barely Rs 2.5 lakhs. Many envelopes contained Rs 2001 or Rs 5001, token amounts that fulfilled tradition without significant financial impact. The total value of everything, fake jewelry, modest cash gifts, and household items, was less than Rs 4 lakhs. This wouldn't even cover half of his Rs 15 lakh debt, let alone provide the fresh start he desperately needed. Vikram's carefully constructed world collapsed in that moment. Months of planning, weeks of anticipation, years of debt accumulation, all for this pathetic return. His breathing became rapid and shallow. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cool December air. In his twisted mind, he felt utterly betrayed. How dare Meera's family deceive him like this? They had presented themselves as middle-class but respectable, implying they could provide appropriately for their daughter's marriage. The fake jewelry felt like a personal insult, a deliberate attempt to make him look foolish. His rational mind should have recognized that Meera's family had given everything they could afford, real sacrifice from people of modest means, but desperation and gambling addiction had warped his perspective completely. He saw conspiracy where there was only financial limitation. What would you do if you discovered you'd been deceived? Would disappointment drive you to anger, or would you try to understand the other person's situation? Can desperation really drive someone to such extremes? Have you ever seen desperation transform someone you knew into someone unrecognizable? Standing in that beautifully decorated room, surrounded by symbols of love and new beginnings, Vikram made the most horrific decision of his life. The mounting pressure from loan sharks, the humiliation of being fooled, and his complete inability to face his problems rationally converged into murderous rage. He had researched various options during the weeks before marriage, originally intended as backup plans if the dowry proved insufficient. Now, feeling cornered and furious, those dark thoughts became his primary focus. In his completely warped reasoning, eliminating Meera would allow him to claim her jewelry was stolen during a robbery. Insurance might pay out, and he could escape his debt trap. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. If you are enjoying this content, drop a comment with "I'm still here." Let's see who is still watching. What Vikram did next would shock even the most hardened investigators. Vikram composed himself and walked to the silver tray where the traditional milk awaited. In Indian culture, offering milk with almonds and saffron to the bride on her wedding night is a gesture of love, nourishment, and blessing for fertility. This beautiful custom, practiced for generations, was about to become the vehicle for the most heinous betrayal. He picked up the ornate brass glass, its surface decorated with intricate engravings. The milk was still warm, fragrant with cardamom, and dotted with chopped almonds and pistachios. His mother had personally prepared this drink, adding expensive Kashmiri saffron strands that turned the milk a beautiful golden color. What nobody knew was that Vikram had been planning this backup strategy for weeks. Through his work connections in the chemical industry, he had obtained potassium cyanide, a deadly substance used in metal processing. His engineering background gave him access to industrial chemicals that ordinary people could never acquire. He had researched extensively online, learning about dosage, detection methods, and symptoms. Cyanide was perfect because it acted quickly and could initially be mistaken for a heart attack or sudden medical emergency. In a small glass vial hidden in his wallet, he carried enough poison to kill 10 people. Standing alone in the kitchen area of their bedroom, Vikram carefully emptied the vial into the milk. The white powder dissolved completely, leaving no trace. The saffron's golden color and strong aroma would mask any slight change in taste. His hands were steady. The desperation had crystallized into cold, calculated murder. Meera emerged from behind the changing screen, now dressed in her soft pink salwar kameez. Her long hair was braided with jasmine flowers, and she had removed most of her heavy jewelry, keeping only her new Mangal Sutra and simple gold bangles. She looked beautiful, innocent, and completely trusting. "Vikram ji, I'm so tired but so happy," she said with a shy smile. "Thank you for being so patient during all the ceremonies today." Vikram approached her with the brass glass, forcing a warm smile. "Meera, Mummy has prepared this special milk for you. It's a family tradition. All the new brides in our family drink this on their first night. It will help you relax after such a long day." Meera's eyes lit up with appreciation. "How thoughtful. Your family is so caring." She accepted the glass with both hands, a gesture of respect and gratitude. "Have you ever trusted someone completely like Meera did? That absolute faith where you never question their intentions?" Without any hesitation, Meera brought the glass to her lips and took several sips. The milk was delicious, creamy, aromatic and comforting after the exhausting day. She smiled and took larger gulps, appreciating the thoughtfulness of her new family. "It tastes wonderful," she said, finishing nearly half the glass. "Please thank Mummy Jai for preparing this specially." Vikram watched her drink, knowing that each sip was sealing her fate. His face showed false affection, while his heart felt nothing but cold calculation. The woman who had trusted him completely, who had entered his family with hope and love, was consuming her own death. Within minutes, Meera began feeling strange. She initially attributed it to exhaustion, but soon experienced difficulty breathing. Her chest felt tight, and a metallic taste filled her mouth. "Vikram ji, I'm feeling very dizzy," she said, reaching for his arm for support. The symptoms escalated rapidly. Meera's breathing became labored, her skin started turning pale, and she felt intense nausea. She tried to walk toward the bed but stumbled, her legs unable to support her weight. "Something is very wrong," she gasped, terror creeping into her voice as she realized this wasn't normal fatigue. As Meera collapsed onto the floor, convulsing and struggling to breathe, Vikram began his calculated performance. He rushed to her side, cradling her head and shouting for help. "Mummy! Papa! Come quickly! Meera is very sick!" His voice carried the perfect note of panic and concern. "Something has happened to her. Call the doctor immediately." His family rushed into the room to find Vikram holding his bride, apparently devastated by her sudden illness. To them, he appeared to be a loving husband desperately trying to save his wife. The Gupta family was shocked and confused. Mrs. Gupta immediately called their family doctor, while Mr. Gupta tried to help Vikram lift Meera onto the bed. Everyone assumed it was a sudden medical emergency, perhaps exhaustion from the long wedding day or an allergic reaction to something she had eaten. Meera's final moments were filled with confusion and terror. She couldn't understand what was happening to her body. Her last words were barely whispered. "Mummies, Papa, help me." By the time the doctor arrived 20 minutes later, Meera had lost consciousness. Despite frantic efforts to revive her, she was declared dead at 12:47 a.m. on December 16, 2019, less than 2 hours into her marriage. What could you have done differently in her place? How could someone so innocent protect themselves from such calculated evil? If you won't subscribe for Meera, then who will you subscribe for? Every victim deserves to be remembered. If you refuse, drop your reason in the comments, because staying silent only keeps these crimes in the dark. But Vikram's perfect crime was about to unravel. The death was initially treated as a tragic medical emergency. The family doctor who arrived at the scene suggested it could be sudden cardiac arrest or an allergic reaction. Given Meera's young age and apparent good health, everyone assumed it was an unfortunate natural occurrence, perhaps the stress of the wedding day combined with exhaustion. The Gupta family was devastated, but not suspicious. Vikram's performance as the grieving husband was convincing. He wept openly, refused to eat, and constantly asked, "Why did this happen to her?" His apparent anguish seemed genuine to everyone around him. Even Meera's parents, who rushed to Pune after receiving the heartbreaking news, initially accepted it as a cruel twist of fate. The timing was tragic, but sudden medical emergencies do happen to young people, and they had no reason to suspect foul play. However, as per legal requirements for sudden deaths, the police ordered a post-mortem examination. Dr. Priya Sharma, the forensic pathologist at Sassoon General Hospital, conducted the autopsy on December 17th. What she discovered changed everything. The toxicology report revealed lethal levels of potassium cyanide in Meera's blood and stomach contents. This wasn't a natural death or medical emergency. This was murder by poisoning. The concentration was so high that death would have occurred within 15-20 minutes of consumption. Dr. Sharma immediately contacted the Pune police, and what had been a family tragedy became a criminal investigation. The case was transferred to the crime branch, and Inspector Rajesh Kale was assigned to lead the investigation. Inspector Kale's team began questioning everyone present in the house that night. They examined the bedroom, collected samples of everything Meera had consumed, and started building a timeline of events. The brass glass containing milk residue tested positive for cyanide traces. Initially, the investigation considered external possibilities. Could someone have broken in? Was there a family enemy? But the evidence pointed towards someone with intimate access to Meera during her final hours. Vikram's initial statements seemed consistent, but experienced investigators noticed subtle inconsistencies. His timeline of events kept changing slightly, and his emotional responses seemed calculated rather than genuine. The breakthrough came when investigators examined Vikram's digital footprint. His laptop revealed extensive browsing history about poisons, their effects, and detection methods. Bank records showed massive cash withdrawals that didn't match his stated expenses. More damaging were his multiple online betting accounts across various platforms. The financial trail revealed Rs 15 lakhs in debt across different lenders and gambling websites. His phone contained apps for teen patty, poker, and sports betting, all showing recent activity. Credit card statements revealed cash advances totaling Rs 8 lakhs in the months leading up to marriage. ATM withdrawals showed him frequently visiting areas known for illegal gambling dens in Pune. The most damning evidence came from Vikram's phone records. Messages from unknown numbers contained clear threats. "Paisa do ya consequences face karo." "Time khatam ho gaya hai Vikram." "Family ko batayen kya karta hai tu?" When police traced these numbers, they led to known moneylenders operating in Pune's gambling circuit. These individuals confirmed that Vikram owed substantial amounts and had been desperately seeking ways to repay. One moneylender, identified as Bai, told investigators, "He kept saying he would get money after marriage. When we pressured him, he became very desperate. We thought he would sell wife's jewelry, not." The implication was clear. The investigation revealed Vikram's calculated plan. Marriage wasn't about love. It was a financial transaction designed to solve his gambling debts. When the dowry proved insufficient, his desperation transformed into murderous rage. Inspector Kale discovered that Vikram had researched cyanide for weeks before the wedding. His work credentials had given him access to industrial chemicals, and he had carefully planned the timing and method. On December 22, 2019, exactly 1 week after Meera's death, police arrested Vikram at his office. Faced with overwhelming evidence, digital records, financial trails, witness statements, and forensic proof, his carefully constructed story collapsed. During interrogation, Vikram initially tried to maintain his innocence, but when confronted with phone records showing his gambling debts and browser history revealing poison research, he broke down completely. "I never meant for this to happen," he sobbed. "I just needed the money. When I saw the fake jewelry, I felt betrayed. I wasn't thinking clearly." His confession was recorded and later used as primary evidence in court. Have you seen similar cases in your area? Stories of greed destroying innocent lives? What signs should families watch for when arranging marriages? How can we protect our daughters from such predators? If you are enjoying this content, share it with your loved ones to protect them from the same tragedy happening to them in the future. Meera's parents, Rajesh and Sunita Kapoor, never recovered from their daughter's loss. The couple who had saved every rupee for their daughter's wedding now faced a lifetime of grief. Sunita stopped teaching at her school, unable to face young girls who reminded her of Meera. Rajesh developed chronic depression, constantly blaming himself for not investigating Vikram's background more thoroughly. "We gave our daughter to someone we thought would protect her," Rajesh told reporters later. "Instead, we sent her to her death. How do we live with this?" Their modest home in Lajpat Nagar became a shrine to Meera's memory, filled with her photographs, certificates, and the dreams that would never be fulfilled. The financial burden was equally devastating. The loans taken for the wedding remained unpaid, and the family faced legal expenses for the criminal trial. Their middle-class stability was destroyed along with their emotional well-being. In March 2021, after a lengthy trial, the Pune Sessions Court sentenced Vikram Gupta to life imprisonment under Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code for murder. The judge called it a heinous crime that violated the sacred institution of marriage and betrayed the trust of an innocent young woman. Vikram's family disowned him completely. His mother, Kamala Gupta, told the court, "I raised a son, not a monster. He has brought shame to our family name forever." His father suffered a heart attack during the trial proceedings and never fully recovered, but no legal punishment could bring Meera back or heal the trauma inflicted on both families. This case highlighted critical problems plaguing Indian society. The dowry system, though illegal, continues creating environments where women become financial commodities rather than human beings. Vikram's expectation of substantial dowry reflects an attitude that treats marriage as a business transaction. Gambling addiction, increasingly common with online platforms and easy access, destroys lives and families. The shame associated with addiction prevents people from seeking help, leading to desperate decisions like Vikram's. The arranged marriage system, while having cultural significance, sometimes doesn't allow sufficient time for families to truly know potential grooms or brides. Background verification often focuses on education and employment, while ignoring character and mental health. Financial secrecy, reluctance to discuss debts or expenses openly, excessive interest in dowry details, pressure for quick marriage decisions, and unwillingness to involve mutual friends for references are all red flags. Families should verify employment independently, check social media history, speak to colleagues and friends separately, and most importantly, trust their instincts if something feels wrong about a potential match. Professional background checks, though expensive, can prevent tragedies like this. Spending a $10,000 on verification is nothing compared to losing a daughter. We must change our approach to marriage completely. Dowry should be eliminated entirely, not just reduced. Families should focus on compatibility, character, and genuine affection, rather than financial exchanges. Educational institutions need programs addressing gambling addiction, especially online betting that targets young professionals. Mental health support should be accessible and destigmatized. Meera Kapoor was more than a crime victim. She was a talented engineer, a loving daughter, and a young woman with dreams and aspirations. Her story should remind us to value human life above material considerations and to protect our daughters from those who view them as financial solutions. Several NGOs now use Meera's case in awareness campaigns about dowry violence and gambling addiction. Her name has become synonymous with the need for better protection of women in arranged marriages. What changes do you think need to happen in our society to prevent such tragedies? Share your thoughts on how we can protect our daughters and sisters from predators like Vikram. If you subscribe, you're choosing to keep victims like Meera alive in memory. If you don't, then tell us, why should her story vanish in silence?